Hey folks, Nick Tuckert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Uh, Apparently my net is now finally back up after epic battles. It turns out my neighborhood, dear friends, dear viewers, it has had its large item garbage day where people throw out furniture they don't want anymore, things. So it's like a roving free yard sale. Well, some idiot smacked into the power source for the cell tower, thus rendering me unable to message or unable to be broadcast. So I've had to sit for the last 45 minutes stuck. This is why I look so colorful. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe. The Historical Fencing Guild is brought to you by indiecd.org and the sales of the simple sword, the fighting axe, and the simple spear. Let's get into the millions of comments I have missed. And then I will try to catch up with you guys. And we will talk because I have announcements. We're here, sneak. Told my friend to pun about the sword he wasn't sharp enough to understand, and neither did he understand the point of the conversation. I was looking up sword puns in the joke book. All I could find were jokes that had dual meanings to them. My brother owns a business in sword making. He pros that I invest in this venture. I must say he was making some good points. My friend missed out on our class about swords. Not a problem. So I was able to present in class. As I was present in class, I can give him a samurai of it. Oh, God, it's so good. The owner of the swords shop gave away inflatable swords to all the employees as bonuses. It was really foolish of him, as it was pointless. Over the course of time, swords became obsolete. Guns took over. In comparison with guns, swords just couldn't cut it. Last week, I visited an antique at a shop of antiques and saw an ancient metal sword. It was really, really cheap, so I bought it. I think it was a good steal. The knight was seen carrying a sword made out of cheese. It really was a sharp cheddar. Evening. My brother built his house on an island, which is exactly in the shape of the sword. I think he really loved living on the edge. The earliest sword makers who made the first swords thought it was really cutting edge technology. A famous blacksmith rejected his newly forged sword. He thought it smelt funny. Oh, it's so good. My sister wanted to buy an invisible sword, but I saw no point in buying such things. In medieval times, no one could pull the sword from the stone as they did not have any authorization. Those are wonderfully bad, Cindy. In a dangerous sword fight, the swordsman thought he had won the game. Found out his opponent had only fainted. Oh. I found a painting that depicted a piece where swords are made by people. Unfortunately, it was a big forgery. Oh, these are terrible. I love it. I met a guy with the last name Rapier. It sounded like a cool name, but he informed me that some people think it's Rapper. I guess that name is a double-edged sword. Oh, it's so good. I'm going to go through all these as quick as I can and get caught up and talk about what I'm supposed to. I was fighting a guy with swords in the medieval fighting with swords in medieval style with a guy. But I was surprised when all of a sudden he started to unscrew the pommel of his sword, and then it hit me. What's the name of a sword made of ice? Excalibur. What is the best way to describe a sword which is very light and weight? A lightsaber. Happy Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Fifth. What math problems can be solved by using swords? Only long division problems. Why was the bird wearing armor, riding on a horse, and carrying a sword? Because he was a night owl. What do you say to a hunter who trades his bow and arrow for a short sword? It's a hunter who has to be deranged. Oh, God. When the king was murdered in his sleep with a sword in his chest, what did one subject tell the other? I think the king had a very bad night. Oh. Which predator of which predator is the swordfish most afraid of? The penfish. No, come on. Okay, I'm getting comment dumped, so I hope people are still here. What do you call a man who sword fights often and has an extreme anxiety disorder? He's a warrior. Hey, warriors, come out and play. What did the police suspect? What did the police suspect when they found the body of a sword swallower? They thought it was an inside job. What did the dagger say to the sword? Are you just like me? Are you like me, just bigger? The sword. Sort of. Oh, hope things are okay. Yeah. Weather's kind of squirrely here, so maybe there's some there. I have a scar from an axe on my finger. It was an accident. Could be. Where does Lumberjack buy his axes? At the chopping mall. I accidentally sprayed deodorant in my mouth. Now when I talk, I have this weird accent. Oh, it's so good. It's difficult to understand what these lumberjacks are trying to say because they speak with a thick accent. Oh. Did you hear about the lumberjack who lost his job? They gave him the axe, but because he just couldn't hack it. Oh, it's so... I come home to find an axe buried in my PC. I think I've been hacked. I saw a guy with soot all over his face carrying a large pick and wearing a royal blue hard hat that matched his overalls. But these are just minor details. What do you call... Guys, this is great humor. What do you call a car crash with a lumberjack? An accident. They just keep coming. So many accidents. Why is this spreadsheet afraid of its chart? It has multiple axes. I killed a dentist with an axe, but only got charged with manslaughter. My lawyer said it was an accidental death. Oh, God. I was disappointed when it turned out the axe I brought to the club was useless for the job. It was an anticlimax. Oh. Why did the chicken put the egg on an axe? To hatch it. You can go all day, can't you? I made a bad joke about an axe. No one laughed. It wasn't very clever. If I find the right lists. Oh, God. I'm addicted to ordering hatchets from other countries because of the smell. I love foreign accents. Oh, my God. I always like bragging about very small hatchet I own. I've done some research into it. It's from the 1850s and was used as some rich guy's home to chop up citrus fruits for desserts and cakes. My wife thinks it's boring. I said it's just an anticlimax. Oh, it's so good. As Cindy's been saying, accidents happen. Waves, howdy, hi. Hello, my combat inclined friends. Hi, Teddy. We got Foxy, we have Teddy. Okay, cool, we're caught up. Sorry, I am so sorry that everything went completely insane. I will tell you guys the news. We'll get right into it because obviously there is a time to delay. First and foremost, thank you so much for your amazing patience. I know this has been a complete debacle. I was literally sitting playing cards waiting for my internet to come back on because that's all I could do. So we do have some news. First off, I'm going to start reaching out to my Patreon members and asking if they want to come on as guests and talk about their journey, especially where that applies to dealing with the physical limitations, overcoming them when possible, accommodating them when not. So Thesis made this idea. We all get a little mad sometimes. It's been a day over here. Don't worry about it. I was just about to call the manager. I wasn't. It's chill. Thank God. Hi, Johnny. So I will be having the guests on to talk about it. Now, I have that list I made on one of my list sheets of paper where I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of preview videos. So not only next week will we have a thesis on again, I'm going to May 20th. That's a Saturday, so that's have the first live practice over here in quite some time because I'm finally healthy enough to do so. I am working on upgrading the facilities, and I have some help set up to do that. And after that's done, I will be reaching out to the guildies themselves to either donate financially or donate their time to help me get things like permanent seating, better fire setups, things to make it nicer for what we do. Thrown weapons targets. I have a lot of plans. I want to bring it. Depending on who attends, we may even be able to do a live stream from that event. I have long wanted to be able to have a stream where I can have people set up like commentators at the table talking about the fights that are going on. I think that might be very entertaining. There's still a well clown. Oh, God. Beep, beep. It's been insane. The weather hit nice and everyone lost their mind. But so that is coming down the pipe. I am going to be doing some new product reviews. I have something on order, and we'll go from there. And rebuilding my gear again to be what I need to do, what I do to make things better. It'll be a phone finisher. Or as God is a slight accident in the far corner involving 35 cars. Yeah, basically. As God is my witness, he's broken in half. It has been an absolutely insane day. I had to go do some medical stuff and had to have just about every liquid they could take out of me. So I came in a little dehydrated after having to do some shopping and such. It's been a day, but we are making it work because that's what we do. I am really looking forward to the coming weeks where I can get some people behind the plastic rapiers and we can finally properly, fully test them for you guys to make sure they are of the quality we want. I am still trying to track down more cold steel parry daggers. I don't know why there's a shortage, but I will be working on that to get enough of those to make sure everybody can get started. I'm waiting to hear about who's coming out. So it's very exciting, and I've done a whole lot of work, and we're going to make the facilities how I've always wanted them this year. This is the year of growth and change and up and improvement. There's a shortage because the daggers aren't very long. Whew. It's been a couple of weeks here, people in and out of the hospital, and it's been stressy. Oh, no. I'm sorry to hear that. But I'm working on, let's see, I may have a new student I have to speak. They are a rare special case where I will be seeking guardian permission for them to attend practices. Because I very, very rarely teach people underage, but there are some severe contributing factors. So I'm both excited that might be an option and a little scared. We have been working on the house. Oh, I'm glad you're okay. For the last bunch of days to get stuff out to make room for because of this big the big item drop off. And because of it, I got to tour around the neighborhood and find a few things that will be very useful to me, including an old time drafting table, little tiny drafting table, just like a better version of what I used to use. And I'm really looking forward to having that set up because with a bit of tweaking, I'll be able to put it in over here. And it's just there are some real great opportunities. And I just realized something because I'm a complete yutz, and that tells you how out of it I am. I found out I might have access to a large number of 2x4s. And if I have access to those 2x4s, I can make furniture and stuff for the back that will allow for better seating and possibly upgraded facilities. And it just now hit me. That happens when they have to draw a lot of blood for the assorted tests. Because now I have a diagnosis for the specific nerve damage that I've been chasing for 15 years. Myalgia parathesis. It sounds very much like that. Basically, the nerves in the front of my hips are damaged, and it's causing my legs to become randomly paralyzed. So they have something that does it. I have a new physical therapy regimen that I got handed. A lot of work, very exciting, because I'll know exactly what I could do, because a lot of the stuff I was working on was exacerbating the condition, not helping it. So that means I am more likely to be able to fight longer and fight better. I have physical therapy things for my hands, so I can hopefully hold the weapons, even though I still have to use lighter weapons. I will be modifying experimentally one of the rapiers because I want to change the grip to make it a little more Nick friendly. If that works, I will talk about it. If it doesn't, I will talk about it. To celebrate, very soon I will do the steel rapier repair and upgrade video. I've been meaning to do that, but I think I'm finally having enough hand strength that I might be able to use the hole punch, which was necessary. So let's see. Made it to the Ren Fair without any major injuries. Thank you. Wonderful. Cool book or a few. Mr. Nicholas Anthony Tucker, thank you. You should also consider helping Nick train people. Patreon.com/The Historical Fencing Guild. It's cool to find a real diagnosis. Why would I need to punch a hole? Well, I can answer that question. Give me just a moment, because this is actually a really good question. All right. This is my old rapier. You've seen it several times. It is tarnished. It has a little bit of surface rust on the guard. I'm not worried about that. But do you see how the hilt can wobble? Everything is loose because the to keep the balance and keep it tight, you actually need compressible spacers. And so it is customary to use leather. I could use rubber, but that gets real weird and wears out a lot faster. So you can see the remains of one of my leather spacers right here. Well, this was fake leather, but you get the idea. So I have to take this whole thing apart, brasso it, investigate it, probably check out the tip and retape it. And then, so this will be gleaming and shining. I'm going to put new leather spacers in because I will have enough. I have to slide a screwdriver into here to have the leverage to undo the pommel. But I want to rebuild the ricasso. Let me see. Do you see this? This is a piece of wood that's been held together with electrical tape for a decade or so. I want to rebuild the ricasso and make that nice. I want to... the wrap is actually worn so nice into my grip, it's perfect. And I want to make sure everything is nice and tight so it doesn't wobble, it doesn't rattle, it stays how it's supposed to. And this can shine like the piece that it's supposed to. So I will be working on that. And to put the leather, I find the right gauge of leather I want, and then I punch a hole and I thread it right up the metal. So that's going to let me keep that consistency real nice. I also want to do some stuff with my mouse hawk because the wood has dried out on the handle a bit and it's loose again. So I'll probably have to cut the nice tape off and do some other adjustment. So I may leather wrap this. I'm not sure. It seems wasteful for a mouse hawk, but I really love this little hawk and I want to get throwing it. I'm working with the next door neighbor to acquire wood and things to make new throwing targets, because I want to do knife throwing and axe throwing and demonstrate that for you, as I have the equipment and the knowledge. Oh, there's another one of my little rapiers. I also have a Menards run where I have to see if I can find PVC, because I want to get sheaths for all these rapiers, in part because they do tend to take a bend if stored inappropriately. So that will let me protect the weapons. So I'm going to be doing some shopping, but my personal funds are down a bit because I had to do something to assist someone. And I'm not going to go into any other detail because we're not supposed to talk about that. But it does mean it's a good time for me to raise money. And I want to get those set up and make sure that the daggers are set up so that I can teach people, sword and dagger and double rapier to start and get things balanced out. And yes, a lot of people don't know this, but this diagnosis has literally been something I've been chasing and told, well, you're fat. Has been literally, you are morbidly fat was a diagnosis I got from a neurologist. And I'm going, that doesn't help me. Well, you need to lose weight. You can't lose weight if you are falling down and don't know why. So literally, I had 15 years of trying to track that down to figure it out. And they found all sorts of other things that were wrong with me, but not that. They're like, well, you're fat. I'm like, the reason I got fat was my legs stopped working. I mean, it's really hard to burn calories when you can't walk. And it's like, you can't plan to go places alone if you don't know your legs will work. I got stranded in a Walmart parking lot for about 45 minutes because my legs decided to drop me, and I nearly fell on my face, and I caught a cart corral, and I just sort of slumped against the cart corral for nearly an hour, 45 minutes in the cold before it decided to start working again. And at the time, I didn't have my cell phone on me because it was in the car. I just had made a dumb mistake. Walking a cart back because I'm a decent human being. So it was paralytic fear. It's something people like. I had childhood epilepsy, and the thing about epilepsy is the worst part I found wasn't the seizures or the aftermath. It was the constantly being afraid of the boogeyman. Now, it's been 30 plus years since I've had a seizure. But once it's happened, you're always scared of it. And I got over that, and I used to do a lot of things. I used to go on solo camping trips. I used to go, and I mean, like, here's a backpack and like some munchies. I'll be fine for a few days and just poof, Start out with a little tent and leave with the Taj Mahal kind of setup. But not being able to do that greatly affected because I couldn't get an identity. I don't mind working towards, it's like my hands. When my hands didn't work, it was a nightmare because no one could tell me why till I got the nerve tested. Like, oh, you have, neuropathy in your hands and all the stuff. But when they gave me the exercises, it's like I can do these when the hands feel bad, or I'm going to be doing stuff, or I'm not doing anything. I can work and I can feel like I haven't been doing them enough. So I'll be doing much more rigid about my different therapies to keep myself functional so that I'll be able to fight. And I get that back. It has been terrifying for me for this run because training people to sword fight and sword fighting is such a piece of my personality. It's such a piece of what I am, not just who I am, that I felt like a chunk of my life had been scooped out with an ice cream scoop. And that's why I'm working so hard to try to make things work right. So we have that. And let's see, I lost some comments. Yes, you can check out my art on deviantart.com/NickT. I got a chance to try axe throwing for the first time last weekend. I sucked, but Foxy did well. If you sucked at axe throwing, knife throwing will come more natural to you. The reason I say that is a lot of times knife throwing and axe throwing, because of the way you want to deliver, are 90 degrees off. You get what I'm saying? So it's hard to hit a knife at an angle like you throw an axe. And when you do, you're too close. You need to move back from the target a bit. With an axe, you have a different angle of approach, and you want that much squarer thunk. So a lot of that's finding your range. The other thing is you were probably indoor in an axe. Oh no, you said you were at the thing. You may not have had enough range for a complete tumble for you with the way you were throwing it. You probably also overpowered it. A lot of strong guys have trouble not putting too much beef under the axe, and it's all about the tumble. I hate that diagnosis. Some doctors are not helpful. My friend's brother, who's a trauma doctor, says, what you call a guy who graduated last in medical school? Doctor. Explains a lot. It really does. For real. Yeah. Yeah, I have the same aggravation with not knowing what the seizure disorder is. I have had multiple possible diagnoses, which is how I ended up with non-epileptic seizure disorder. And what's scary is, because it's tied to your food allergy, they're finding more and more things like that are in the gut. So it could be something else. Out of 5 minutes of throwing it, hit the target once. Foxy hit the target, hit 3 times, including the very first. Oh, wow. That's fun. I don't have seizures, but I randomly faint. Oh no, Foxy, that's rough. And for a while there, with my blood pressure, I had that problem too. Well, because I was symptomatically narcoleptic for a bit. Now that I'm on the breathing machine, my oxygen levels are where they're supposed to be. I'm much better, but yeah, so I feel you. The beef goes in front of the axe, helps when chopping the bones. That makes sense. I like throwing axes. I like throwing knives. I like throwing spears. I have 2 goals. I eventually want to get good with an atlatl, because I think they're cool. And I've used one, but I'm not good with it. And I want to get good with a sling. Sometimes it happens when my heart rate drops into like the 40s. Oh no. Mom has that. Blood pressure goes down, and so does she. Yeah. Thesis says, I've gotten pretty good at knowing when her fainting spells are coming. I can see it in her eyes and her face, so I generally can catch her. That's a wonderful thing to have, is somebody who can see it come upon you. Yeah, I was totally not freaking out, but he's better at catching it than I am. Yeah, a lot of times if you're a caregiver for somebody, you can see the signs more than they can feel the signs. So it is very much a thing, and it's good to have that. So is our dog, for that matter. A lot of dogs end up trained for that. And all you can, you appreciate them. Dogs are amazing animals. My cats aren't good at that, but boy, can they tell if I'm depressed. If I am upset, my cats will come into whatever room I'm in and just be like, you will be loved, dang it. Which is part of why I love my cats so much. There we go. Sometimes you gotta stay strapped or get clapped. And around here, my son may ambush me at any given point, which is fair because I returned the favor. At some point, I will have a completely off-topic discussion on Nerf guns and which ones I love. But, oh, you bought Foxy and Addle a few years back. We haven't had much chance to use it yet, but she has one. Oh, that's so cool. See, when I got into track, I wanted to do free running, and there's nothing to do with that. But I wanted to do javelin. I thought javelin was super cool. I knew I wasn't strong enough for like shot put or hammer toss. Although I would have loved to try either of those too, because it would have given me something to get stronger. But javelin was just cool. What? You're going to yeet a spear across the field? Let's do it. Unfortunately, the school I attended refrained from anything weapon-like for fear it would be used on other students. It was colorful. But it's great that these skills are coming back because you never know. Some of these goofy skills are things you never know if you're going to need. That's why I collect them. I love personal. Oh, it's a custom rig that so she gets to put together and decorate it herself. It's still sitting in the box behind one of my sword racks. Well, you know what? You ought to put that thing together and do shoot a little video of it when it's done or whatever, and we'll put it on here. I'd love to see something like that. Oh my. Sorry, part of the reason the scheduling for this program, it has to do with the way my meds hit. And I'm running a little late, so I'm a little fuzzy. But I owe you guys an hour, and gosh darn it, you're going to get the hour. And like I said, there will be a lot of new content coming basically after tomorrow. I can start working on it because tomorrow is the big item pickup day. And up until then, we are just hoofing to get as much junk out of the house so I can get it the good stuff. My gun just left me. That sounds like a country song. Oh, cool. You should talk to Joe Bachman. He does the Burning is Love on his channel. I wonder, can I switch brands enough to I wish I could show just his. I'm going to have to split. You know what I'm going to do? Hold on. I can't do that now. But I will split. I'm going to see if I can't get that commercial or get him to give me a split version of those commercials. And he does wood burning, and I'm sure he can give advice. You owe us all to take care of yourself. We'll live if you have to cut. You got to cut this short. I agreed. I appreciate it so much, and I may have to cut it short just because the meds they hit, and that's like I said. That's why I stopped most of my late night broadcasts. But let's see. Cindy said tried to record Wasin, but my tablet didn't have the camera angle. That one really covers a lot of real estate. Maybe we can rig up something to help you. Seriously, there's got to be a way to help you with that situation. Advice would be appreciated because I burned one thing and it did not look good. Then, okay, Joe Bachman. Go to the Independent Creator Directory YouTube channel and subscribe there. The Independent Creator Directory, for those of you who don't know, is a website where authors and artists and other creatives, musicians, game designers, whole lot of wonderful folks have hosting. And if you're looking for an artist or creator or something, you can go through there and find an independent creator who you can then contact and get things done. And if you are one of such people, for a very small fee, you can have a site basically through that you can give to people and they can find your stuff. So it's a great program. He's building a small social network within it for the creators. It's just a great opportunity. So reach out there, because a lot of you guys have creativity that may not be financially manifesting, except Cindy has a bunch of stuff and Johnny has a bunch of stuff that's now coming out where you can get prints of his stuff. And I'm really excited to hear that. Cindy does amazing, she's an amazing author. She also does amaguri creatures and hats and dragons and things. It's really great. Plus teacher schools. And I don't normally broadcast that sort of thing on this channel, but I really want to give back to some of my Patreon folks to make sure that they're getting acknowledged. Sometimes they hit like a freight train. Yeah, if you need a nap, or we'd rather you be safe. I'm just a little winded, and it's frankly very hot in here. I'm going to be ordering the screen door that I'm going to be putting in on the other side of the door to my study, so that I can have cool air most of the day and keep the cats out. Depending on how much room you need to film, Cindy, I can suggest a few things in recording forms. Well, my folks' house has a normal-sized garage, and if I can't go diagonal, I hit the wall one, and okay, the format of the your site. Well, maybe we can work something else out. Foxy and I are thinking, if they do the Ren Fair again next year, we'll see how much a booth costs. And we can sell her wire wrap jewelry, and I can sell journals or boffers, or both. That is a wonderful idea. That is a great way to attend a Ren Fair. It's a lot of fun. I'm really thinking of trying to do a day for the guildies and reach out to the Patreon guild and try to get a day where I can have the Patreon guild and the local guild, as many as possible, over for a practice hangout session. I think that would be great. We could have, because I know Cindy's in Iowa, which is such a haul, but maybe we can find a show that's close that you may be coming out to, make an arrangement. Maybe we can get old Brian K. Morris to come out. But I think I'd like to do something like that. Right now, I'm thinking of, yes, we got that one already. Good. But we are so close to having better than Utah. I know. I wish you guys were closer. I really do. We got close to having an Oracle deck. I actually got an Oracle deck based on the Art of War from Fair last year. I had much chance to look through it, but once I picked it up, she wouldn't let me put her down. I understand. Sometimes you find things that are meant to be yours. Sometimes you find things that are meant to be other people's. And if you're just a carrier, this happened to me many times. But I think the best way to do it, what we do, is to just do what comes natural. Okay, guys? And if something calls to you, run with it. Especially with styles. If you see something you suddenly have interest, look it up. You never know what's going to flow into what you already do. And the more you sample, the more you know. It's just like food. You have to try new food sometimes. And sometimes you have to revisit things you tried and stepped away from. I would love to find a place I could get back into Idaho. I had just dabbled a little bit in that, and I would love to get back into that. But from the position of running my own situation here, it does keep me busy. And there's so much more coming down the pipe that I think we will truly enjoy. But it was fun watching watching him see it, pick it up, and not want to put it down. On the matter of food, time to retest my food allergies. Here's hoping I gain some more foods back as foods than I lose as allergies. I pray for you, Cindy, on that one. I really do. I'm hoping things go really well for you because it all needs to be it's not fair. It's just not fair. It's not right that you have to live that way. But I'm hoping that works out for you too, and keep us appraised. I know if we have you over, it's going to be a case of we know you'll bring your own food, but we have to find a way to meet up with everybody again because you're just too much good people, too good people. I have an event that I want to do probably next year if it works out, and I'll be reaching out to a lot of my author friends and the creative friends to try to get them to have booths and things. I think there's going to be some real opportunities, but we'll talk more about that as it becomes less nebulous. But we really are. We're building forward, and it's getting better, guys. We are literally days away from stuff moving forward, and me being able to do new videos and new processes, and getting things where they belong. So I'm truly excited. That's why I'm so mad that today's video went boink. But thank you so much for the loyalty of sticking around and being here for it, because it really does. It means the universe to me. These kind of situations aren't easy. But I need to always know from you guys what you want me to work on. On Swordfront, I looked into, finally have enough I can afford a new LK Chen sword. Looking at the Robaldo or the White Serpent. Oh, God. That's really an East versus West question. Because LK Chen makes beautiful stuff. It's just so expensive. I am astonished at how many clean sword and axe jokes you managed to find. And it was a true wonder to see that list, because I honestly expected to be talking to empty space once I heard the systems start back up, and I'm like, wait, let me come running in here. We are so close, guys. It's so exciting, and it's really going to build back up, and I love that that it is what it could be. There's the possibility of even me setting up as a nonprofit so that I can do this and get certain tax relief for the people who donate to me. I don't know. I'm trying to see how things are going to work, and us crazies we're still here. It's really appreciated. And we weren't going anywhere. It didn't matter how late you were going to be here. That's what makes the show and the people the stalwarts who keep it going so important. And that's why I feel bad, because I am coming off of such a long run of negativity where I just couldn't do what I needed to do. Not negativity like mental, but just physical. I could not. And I'm getting me back. One step, one event, one practice at a time. And I think that's amazing. What you're hearing me click is I got what I needed a stylus in my adventures. And I got one of the many, many color pens that has a stylus on the back side. And I couldn't resist snagging it. So that's what I'm fidgeting with. But yeah, I will be shopping for new gear personally for myself. And once I have the facilities afforded and upright, then I can upgrade my personal gear finally, and I'll be able to do some different things with my trainer gear, because I just realized some options I have that I didn't really realize, and it means great things. Foxy and I are getting back to training in the mornings. I'm now at the point where I think I can do some things I used to, and that's all you can do is ease back into it, one step, one maneuver at a time. And when you find out you can't do something, that's where we start working on adaptivity, about changing your style to be able to do a variant. If you can't do what you want to do, what are you achieving with that maneuver? And what else can we do? Which is this. This is this little guy. I kind of want to throw this fellow. I wondered where this little guy went. I made my mom cringe earlier today because I got down into a single leg stance, straight leg stance. She just had her hip done a month ago. Oh my. It really, that is one I'm not looking forward to at all, because I have certain malformations in several of my joints, and I know at some point it's all going to have to be dealt with, and I'm going to be increasingly cybernetic. But I'm just glad that you're that far back. I'm glad that you are in a position to. He was almost sitting on the floor. Oh, that's congratulations, though, Thesis. That kind of recovery is a rare and beautiful thing. It's great, and that's what I love. There's no give up in this organization. There's no give in. There's just, okay, we'll find another way. And sometimes you have to pause. Sometimes you have to stop and heal. And I've had to learn a lot about not trying to pour from an empty cup. I was both amused and cringy. I bet circle walking and horse stance have helped immensely. And I'm so glad to hear that, because that means the techniques are doing what they're supposed to do. They're telling me none of my joint malfunctions are fixable by cybernetics, but so far I've been able to find workarounds for a bunch. And see, that's all we do. We keep working around, and I do tend to believe that we are fast approaching transhumanism, where it will become cost effective to get replacement limbs for the people who are born with limbs that don't function right or don't function traditionally, and there will be people who can get modifications that actually provide advantages. And once that happens, it's going to get real interesting real fast. I'm worried that they will tell that, as well as some light Tai Chi Qigong stretches. And that's a great system. That's what's great about the soft arts. I know a lot of people who are hard art practitioners and a lot of people who are soft art practitioners, and I've known them a long time. And I've watched the hard art practitioners wear out and break. And I've watched the soft art practitioners remain supple and flexible well into old age. This is why the arts I do are so relatively soft in form. It's why I condone it, because if you're already broken, you can't be hammering on the edge of joint travel. And I think that's one of the best ways to look at it. The longevity and the mental attitude you come into any martial art you pursue. Now, I do condone practical application. And if your art isn't giving you a practical application, I think you need to find a way to adjust that over so that it can. That's why I don't fence like other people, because my fencing includes Eastern elements. It includes uh, a philosophy of refusing the blade, of a very yin defense. I would far rather just not be there when a hit is coming and respond with consistency rather than hard power. We are going to do some modifications to Wing Chun for Foxy. She can't get into Wing Chun horse stance like most people can, but I know we can find a workaround. Absolutely. I can do Tai Chi horse stance a lot better. One of my joints screamed too much when Wing Chun for the Wing Chun one. Where did that comment go? It was right there. There it is. And maybe Wing Chun isn't fully your style, but just take the elements you like and disregard the rest. We get caught up in you must learn the right way of the one true art of Wada Wada Bing Bang. You hear that a lot. Meyer is the one true school. And a lot of that is just advertising. And you had the same thing in the Chinese systems. Because I hate to say it, if they were nearly as super powered as people want to believe sometimes, then the Boxer Rebellion would have had a very different outcome. And that's one of those, I encourage you guys to look up the Boxer Rebellion and see what it was, what it is, what it meant. It's a good lesson for people as a warning against being too esoteric in your training. The difference between Tai Chi and Wing Chun horse stance is Wing Chun is lower and the knees are pointed inward slightly. I like my bits and pieces approach. Absolutely. And that's why, the simple sword is a good system for you, because you can add pieces modularly to it, and you can take modules out of that and integrate it to things you already know. And it's not built merely on speed or merely on power or merely on reach or merely on evasion. It gives you enough to understand these things so that you can find where your strengths are, and then you can integrate the stuff you learn that leans into those strengths, which is what we do. It's a situation where finding the style that works for you will always be a personal situation. And my goal has never and will never be to teach you to fight. My goal is to help you find your fight. And then from you finding your fight, help you approach it. I lack speed. I have strength and I have determination, stubbornness. So for you, with that common setup, I really think you would do well with the possibility of a shield. Simple shield work and counter punching. So yeah, I'm not going to chase you. If you want to go away, I win. If you want to come over here, I'm going to stop what's coming on and do bad things to you. Would really possibly be a style you like. And depending on the weight and style of the shield, it can really help. Now, a while ago, I started tinkering with a simple saucer sled as a shield. Riot shields are great. Depending on the weight you can handle The medieval buckler is really wonderful by Cold Steel. The medieval targe looks wonderful, but knowing the weight, that's a heavy center boss. And I think you might do better with strap shields. You can buy aluminum, like spun aluminum shields in different designs from credible HEMA and SCA providers. That's actually one. Looking up SCA shield is a great way to get a shield, and that will make you, because you are shorter and you are frankly squatter, you're more horizontal, and that's not a bash. It's like you look at your body type and you go, what stereotype tends to work well with it? It's very dwarven. Fine, let's learn it and go. Speed is no problem here. I'm really good at Usain Bolt style. Also, those I'm out with keto. Yes, that translates to the secret martial art of run like beach. Uh, Running like getting out of there is a great thing, and that was my primary for years. I evolved. I was a bit of a free runner, but due to injury, I got where I couldn't, so I had to do other things because escape just was no longer a viable option. I think I settled on the staff. It's easy. I block well with it. Then that's where you live. I love a Joe staff. For you, a bow staff is probably great too. Um, there are some really neat variants of staff fighting that you can look up. Uh, a couple I've shared elements of on the Historical Fencing Guild's Facebook, the public group. I've never been a good runner. I understand that. I used to be. I used to be a cross country runner. My sprint was okay, not fast enough as I wish, unless I had terrain to get over. But I could just keep going and going and going until I couldn't. And that's what this whole system of what I'm dealing with now. I you build up and you find what you can do and you pay attention and you adjust. And with my cane, I always have a short stick with me. I've said it before, I will say it again. Please, please buy Toby Beck's The Armored Rose. The only reason I'm not trying to find a PDF to just give you is I wouldn't want to do piracy on something that is only put out by a small person, unless it's totally unavailable any other way, and then I can make suggestions. But I really prefer, especially when it's a small creator, to try to support them. But TOBIBECK, The Armored Rose, I believe it's still available through Amazon. I don't believe it's terribly expensive. You just need a copy. Thesis needs to read it too. It will help you with problems you may have. A lot of my my basis in grip adjustment and things has been gleaned from that book, and what it says about hip alignment, because that may be part of why you're having stance issues. There are a lot of women who are uncomfortable in male stances because your hips are different. Yeah, Armored Rose was interesting. I think Thesis might have picked it up. If you have it, just sit down and read it, and do the flip. Look at the flip book where it shows how he moves different. Because especially if you are a woman and you can't train with other biological women. When I'm talking about this, I'm not having any issue with trans folks. I need to qualify that because unfortunately I know a lot of people who do. The hip mechanics on women are different. The wrist mechanics on women are usually different. The weight distribution, the center balance is different. The way you guys move is different. It needs to be studied that way in a clinical sense. So I really think if it's not on the list, if it's not one you own, that's one you need to prioritize, because believe it or not, SCA pole arm, look, because European spear, staff, and pole arm all feed into each other. They nestle as a group of styles. They're a good place for you to look into. Oops. Cindy says, one of the things I'm liking at the school where I'm learning Tai Chi, the instructors will help figure out how to make things work if there's a joint malfunction. It's very adaptable. That is beautiful. My hip mechanics are different due to my joints and all anyway, so I have to exactly. That's why I have to go, okay, this is the footwork you should be doing. And then I'll always have one person at some point, no matter how many times I warn them, they'll see me fight and go, you did this, that, and this. And depending on how well I know them, I may actually sit down and take my shoe off and let my foot naturally sits like this. Both my feet naturally sit like this, extreme promenation. I have to have lifts and arch supports and all these things to be able to walk on a flat surface, because of my ankles are bent. So when I say you can't do my footwork, it would be painful and dangerous for a lot of people, just like it's painful and dangerous for me to use traditional footwork. My joints don't work that way. And finding what works and what doesn't work for you is very good. I do think everyone needs at least a plan B of some physical response, a viable, trainable skill. Theoretically, you want the triumvirate. You want a striking, upper body striking, a kicking, and a wrestling style approach. Some kind of ground game, some kind of upper body game, some kind of lower body game. That's the kind of trinity you find in mixed martial arts. And understanding something from this in some variant is very helpful. Now, for me, my approach is I do love kicks. Don't get me wrong. I love kicks. However, my foot is never going to be higher than my knee level. And that's the link for the Armored Rose on Amazon. How much is that going for currently, Thesis? My feet can almost turn backwards while I'm standing on them. It freaks my therapist. No idea why that means. You have hyperflexible ligaments. And it's going to freak them out because that should be rendering you. Like you render meat. You should be rendered. It should be tearing from the bone. When somebody studied anatomy enough, it can become empathically painful just to look at something like that. It's why I can't watch certain kinds of accidents or even a few of the fights that I've seen where joints have been dislodged and stuff. Oh, I know I was being sarcastic. Sorry, my sarcasm filter is not really engaging really well tonight. But guys, I have given you your hour. I am rather spent. Expect some, hopefully, extra material between now and next week. Thesis and possibly, okay, $24.99. That's a little pricey, but because of the way she did her pictures, I think it's necessary. Kindle copy for $10. I can't really say there's a better book at what she does. And yes, I really need to hydrate, and I asked for a beverage to be brought in, and my son didn't hear me. So thank you all for sticking around. Go get some fun books at Amazon.com/Mr. Nicholas Anthony Tucker. There are also, in the very near future, knock on wood, will be some new publications coming out as I am straightening out some things. I'm getting through the mostly finished fiction and game stuff that I have on my to-do pile, and then I can get back to nonfiction. But nonfiction takes a lot, and I have to be able to, when I do my nonfiction, before I go, I'll explain it. I write and I go, okay, how does an axe go? And I've learned it. So it's like, okay, a fighting axe often has an almost drawing motion. You have an extended strike and you have a drawing strike. And how that fits in affects things. But it's hard for me to be able to write about it without being able to kind of pantomime what I'm doing. And for a while, I just couldn't. And I realized that was stopping me. So good stuff is coming. Go rest. I'm exhausted. Check out my art. Thank you. Thanks for the stream. Have a lovely night. Then go support us on patreon.com/thehistoricalfencing guild. Yes, please. I'm about to spend a lot of money on some StreamYard stuff and on facilities. And I'm going to be putting in a lot of hours, so I could really use the financial assistance, because I know some of the students I may be taking on, if I have that opportunity, are going to have no shot at gear. So to do what I do, I'm going to be buying them gear. And yes, tune in next week, Friday. Anyone who has questions about Chinese martial arts or things of that nature, ask. I will have Thesis on next week. And when we come back, now I will be broadcasting sometime this weekend on the on my other channel, the Nicholas Talkert channel, to do the art for the live streams, which I usually do on Saturdays. Although this weekend, with everything that's going on, I don't know what I'll be able to do. But with all that said, guys, thank you so much. Thesis, I look forward to seeing you and having a lively East meets West conversation on the guild. And it's something that's long due. If you are a longtime viewer, especially if you're in the Patreon and you're actually practicing this stuff, hit me up. I'd love to have you as guests and give you that opportunity to tell your story. I'd love to get Cindy back on. And she has a question for us mind readers out there. But I usually use a deflective parry, because I know I don't have enough force to stop that much energy while stepping offline, and that minimizes it to at worst grazing damage. But there aren't many people who use that level of enchanted spear. 42, Cindy. It's not a sandwich, Cindy. With that, guys, keep your eye, do your drills, okay? We're all trying to get fighting. Do your drills. Thesis is proof. Drills help. Keep your eyes open, because you can't deal with the threat till you recognize it. Be kind to yourself and each other, because, friends, the world is kind of scary, and it looks like it might be a little scarier. We got to be there for each other and for ourselves, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And as always, dear friends, thank you for supporting your local swordmaster. I will see you all next week, and probably much sooner, for more content over here on the Historical Fencing Guild YouTube channel. See you all very soon.